Good evening and welcome to The Proof is Out There Bermuda Triangle edition, coming to you from the Florida coast. On the Bermuda Triangle into cursed waters, the team uses a special map to locate the wreckage of lost ships and planes. The map has hundreds of unidentified targets. Two of those could be a pair of Boeing Stratotankers that vanished without a trace in 1963. These planes were like flying gas stations used to refuel other planes in midair. They were on a completely uneventful mission, then both disappeared from radar at the exact same moment somewhere out there off the coast of Florida. Did they crash into each other? Or did something else happen? It's a story that's reminiscent of Malaysian Airlines Flight 370, which mysteriously disappeared from radar while en route to Beijing. The plane and the 239 souls on board were never found. Now two brothers think they may have discovered the truth and the plane.
In September 2019, the fate of MH370 continues to confound investigators. The majority of the search has taken place over the ocean, but British video producer Ian Wilson suddenly has a thought when revisiting details of this case. What if the lost Boeing 777 had actually crashed on land in an area where it would be hard to find, such as a remote jungle? In his free time, Ian begins pouring through satellite maps of the possible flight paths, concentrating on the rainforests of Southeast Asia.
I traced the arc that runs from North Asia down to the southern Indian Ocean. I was hoping I would see like a load of crushed trees.
After days of scrolling without any luck, Ian suddenly stumbles upon something unmistakable. An object shaped exactly like an airplane, deep in the Cambodian jungle 60 miles west of Phnom Penh.
If you really go into the 3D view, it looks as though the plane is laying up against a mountain. It's almost at a 45-degree angle.
Now, in the years since the disappearance, airplane pieces suspected to be from MH370 have washed ashore all over the Indian Ocean, but only a small number have actually been confirmed to be from this exact plane. Some reject those findings and the whole idea that the plane crashed in the ocean.
Based upon how much fuel was on board and the possible directions this aircraft could go, the search area could be anywhere within a very large radius of the ocean or in some remote area in Southeast Asia.
Ian and his brother Jackie decided to pool their money and trek out to that spot in the Cambodian jungle themselves.
The fact that it linked up with the last known position of the plane on this arc, that's enough to go and check it out.
But it proves more treacherous than they ever expected, even to their local guides.
Halfway through, these guys turn around and say, look, we're going back. We can't go any further. We got to a huge waterfall that they couldn't get past.
The brothers eventually have to return home empty-handed.
But here's the thing. Planes vanish more often than you would think. Since MH370, 7 other aircraft have gone missing around the world. But could Ian's discovery at least put to rest the questions about this notorious disaster? Our experts take the stick.
First, aviation expert Lieutenant Tim McMillan determines whether a plane that crashed in a jungle would appear like the image Ian found on the satellite map.
It looks very much like an airplane just sat down in the middle of the wilderness. I would not expect to see a big commercial plane like a Boeing 777 be able to land in that condition and not be destroyed.
But even if somehow the plane managed to stay intact, McMillan doubts that this image is a Boeing 777.
Just based on the scale that we have from these satellite images, this object that looks very plane-like is about 100 feet too short for a Boeing 777.
So might this be part of the natural topography that Ian just mistook for an airplane?
We know it's not snow because it would have melted, and there's no snow in Cambodia at that altitude. It's in the middle of a tropical jungle. And there's no indication that this is a random rock formation. It looks exactly like a plane.
But there are no telltale signs of a crash landing.
If this was a plane that had actually flown into this spot, we would see some kind of indication in the surrounding vegetation.
Mixed conclusion. Ian did locate a plane, just not on the jungle floor, but in the sky above it.
I think this is certainly not MH370, so it's another plane. And it's just happened to have been caught in this satellite image. This is something that happens, surprisingly often. It just means there happened to be one caught on camera at that time.
Our verdict, this is most likely a moving plane passing over Cambodia just as the satellite image was taken. But Ian and Jackie Wilson are still convinced that MH370 lies somewhere deep in the jungles there. Once they have saved enough money, they say they are heading out on another expedition.